Welcome, brave souls. Tonight we venture into the depths of the forest of the whispering voices, where shadows conceal ancient secrets, and every whisper hides a sinister truth. Will you heed the calls, or will you be lost among the cursed? The forest waits, and it never forgets.
It started with an old map I found in my grandfather's attic. Worn and faded, it marked a place called Whispering Hollow. Cryptic notes scrawled in the margins spoke of secrets hidden deep within the forest. I was drawn to uncover what lay there. The townsfolk warned me about the forest, whispering tales of voices that called out to travelers, luring them into darkness. Most who entered were never seen again. Ignoring their fears, I packed my bag and prepared for the journey. The forest greeted me with towering trees and dense undergrowth. Each step felt heavier as I ventured deeper, the world outside fading away. The faint sounds of nature were comforting, but the silence between them felt oppressive. By dusk, I had reached a clearing. Shadows stretched and the air grew colder. The wind rustled the leaves, and with it I heard something faint, a whisper, almost indistinguishable. It sent a chill down my spine, but I dismissed it. As night fell, I lit a small fire to keep warm. The forest seemed alive, the shadows dancing with the flames. Then the whispering returned, clearer this time. It wasn't the wind, it was a voice, soft and distant, calling my name. I stood, straining to hear. The voice was familiar yet unsettling. It seemed to come from all directions, urging me to move deeper into the woods. My rational mind screamed to stay, but something stronger pulled me toward the dark. With only a flashlight, I followed the sound. The trees thickened, their gnarled branches forming a twisted archway. The voice grew louder, more urgent. My heart raced as I realized I was no longer alone in the forest. The further I walked, the more the forest seemed to close in. The air grew colder, and the voice became more distinct. It was a woman's voice, her tone filled with sorrow. She was begging for help, pleading for me to find her. I stumbled upon an old moss-covered stone marked with strange symbols. The voice now seemed to come from beneath it. As I knelt to inspect it, the whispers turned into cries echoing around me. I felt an overwhelming urge to dig. Using my hands, I clawed at the earth, the cold soil chilling me to the bone. My mind screamed to stop, but the voice urged me on. It promised answers, salvation, and secrets long buried. I couldn't resist its pull. After hours of digging, I unearthed a small wooden box, bound with chains. The air around me felt heavier, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. The whispers turned into a deafening chorus, demanding I open it. My hands trembled as I broke the chains. Inside the box was a mirror, its surface cracked and tarnished. As I gazed into it, the whispers stopped. For a moment there was silence, then I saw her, a pale figure staring back at me. Her hollow eyes locked onto mine, and the forest seemed to shift. She spoke, her voice now a chilling rasp. "You freed me," she said. Before I could react, the mirror shattered, and an icy wind surged through the trees. The figure stepped out of the shadows, her form flickering like a dying flame. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. The forest grew darker, and I realized too late that I had unleashed something far more sinister than I could comprehend. The pale figure followed me as I stumbled back to camp. Her whispers now filled my mind, drowning out all other thoughts. "You will stay," she murmured. I could feel her presence growing stronger with each passing second. I tried to run, but the forest fought against me. Roots twisted around my feet and branches clawed at my skin. Her laughter echoed through the trees, mocking my desperation. "There is no escape," she taunted. I collapsed in the clearing, gasping for breath. The fire had long since died out, and the darkness was absolute. She appeared before me, her face a mask of sorrow and rage. "You belong to the forest now," she said. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices swirling around me. I covered my ears, but it was no use. They spoke of the forest's curse, of countless souls trapped here, lured by the same haunting call that had drawn me in. In a desperate attempt, I grabbed the shattered mirror from the ground. "What do you want?" I shouted. Her face appeared again, her hollow eyes unblinking. "To be free," she said. but freedom comes at a cost. The ground beneath me began to shake, and the trees groaned as if alive. The forest was closing in, its roots and branches forming a cage. I was being swallowed whole, consumed by the very place I sought to uncover. Her voice was the last thing I heard before the darkness took me. You will join us, and your voice will guide the next. The forest fell silent once more, waiting for its next victim to wander too far into its depths. I awoke in complete darkness, the air heavy and cold. The forest was no longer a place of trees and earth, but a labyrinth of shadows. The whispers returned, clearer now, guiding me deeper into this cursed place. Each step I took echoed through the void. The voices told stories of those who had come before, their fates sealed by the same call that lured me. I wasn't the first, and I wouldn't be the last. Suddenly, I saw faint lights flickering ahead. As I approached, I found a circle of ghostly figures, their eyes hollow and lifeless. They whispered in unison, their voices merging into a single chilling command, "Join us." At the center of the circle stood the pale woman, her presence dominating the clearing. "You freed me, but the price must be paid," she said. Her eyes burned with a cold fire, and I felt the weight of her curse pressing down on me. The ground beneath me shifted, revealing a chasm filled with swirling darkness. The whispers became screams, the voices of those trapped below. The forest demanded a sacrifice, and I was its chosen offering. I tried to resist, but the ghostly figures grabbed my arms, their icy grip unyielding. They dragged me toward the edge of the abyss. The pale woman watched, her expression void of mercy. "This is your end," she whispered. With a final, desperate plea, I begged for my life. The woman leaned in, her voice soft, yet final. "The forest always takes what it's owed." She pushed me into the void, and I fell, consumed by darkness and endless whispers. I woke to find myself back in the clearing, but something was different. My body felt weightless, and the air was thick with an unnatural silence. I was no longer alive, yet not entirely dead. I looked at my hands and saw them fade into the mist. The realization hit me like a thunderclap. I had become one of the voices. My fate was now tied to the forest, an eternal prisoner within its cursed boundaries. The pale woman appeared once more, her form now radiant and free. "You've taken my place," she said with a cruel smile. "The curse passes on, as it always does." She vanished, leaving me alone with the endless whispers. I tried to leave the clearing, but the forest wouldn't let me. Every path led back to the same spot. The other ghostly figures stared silently, their presence a constant reminder of my doomed existence. The voices began to rise, calling out into the night. I realized I was now part of the trap, my voice joining the chorus to lure the next unsuspecting soul into the forest's grasp. The cycle would never end. Days, weeks, maybe even years passed. It was impossible to tell. Time had no meaning here. I could only watch as the forest claimed more victims, each one succumbing to the same fate I had suffered. In the end, I became just another whisper in the forest. My voice joined the others, calling out to the living, drawing them deeper into the cursed woods. There was no escape, only the endless torment of the Whispering Hollow.
The story may have ended, but nightmares have a way of clinging to you, following you into the dark. Tonight, when the shadows lengthen and you feel that creeping dread, remember, some nightmares don't end when you wake up. If this story left you uneasy and you crave more terror, hit the like and subscribe button. The real nightmare is only just beginning.